Today we'll take a trip along another portion of Clear Creek. We'll embark from Challenger Park's newly overhauled launch. This spot has all the amenities needed for paddling, hiking, and day use as well. We'll cast off and bear right onto Clear Creek, which will put us on a westward heading. Here's a quick overview of today's route. It's always interesting, while traveling her course, to reflect on this waterway's use as a genuine bayou in times gone by. On several occasions throughout the journey, if you can snag a moment without the distant noise of automobiles, aircraft, or lawnmowers, you'll find pristine settings, likely akin to what those who once traversed these waters saw before urban sprawl surrounded this tributary. The first section, and much of the route thereafter, is wide and picturesque, with bordering vegetation blocking out many of the nearby hallmarks of civilization. Herons and egrets are common sights along this route, with several other species of coastal birds making appearances here and there. We'll pass a couple of shallow coves to starboard, not too far into the journey. Exploring the first one will provide a view of one of Challenger Park's towering boardwalk cabanas extending out over the marsh. We'll continue along this stretch, passing a few residences before the waterway eases slightly southward. Here, you'll pass the first private neighborhood park to port as the creek's contours begin to curve a bit more frequently. Much like the initial stretch, this section is fairly pristine, aside from a few more waterfront homes. Approximately 2.5 miles in, we'll pass Lynn Gripen County Park to port before traveling beneath the Bay Area Boulevard Bridge and entering a slightly narrower portion of the journey that curves farther west. Here, we'll pass an impressive residence to port as we meander down this somewhat more sheltered stretch. We'll pass a few more homes, where you'll sometimes encounter friendly resident fishermen casting their lines. There are also several tree-lined areas that offer temporary relief from the coastal summer sun. Soon thereafter, we'll come to a fork, where we'll keep right past another private park. Continue along the course through a rather isolated, elephant ear-laden stretch, and you'll soon drift beneath a suspended pipeline. This is followed by cascading water to starboard from a nearby water treatment facility. Shortly beyond that point, we'll turn back. For reference, if you continue west, you'll reach the FM 528 overpass. Beyond it are several more miles of winding narrows to explore, extending past 1776 and Frankie Carter parks. But not today. Today, we'll take a brief detour at the fork we bypassed earlier. It is easily identified from a distance by a tiered pier and a nearby arching tree. It's a rare stretch that I haven't explored previously, so we'll experience it together. We'll bear right down the narrow corridor, which initially has a somewhat primitive feel, with trees flanking both sides. A short way in, the trees will remain to port, while to starboard we'll behold some fairly substantial estates with sparsely scattered trees and occasional small docks. We'll come to a point where the waterway bends to the right before reaching another small fork. Going left leads to a dead end near a standpipe. The route to the right appears to continue for quite some distance through stretches of similar scenery. However, with the sun bearing down and the hourglass running out, it was time to turn back for the day. We'll then simply retrace our paddle strokes, taking a moment along the way to admire the mural beneath the Bay Area Boulevard overpass at Lynn Gripen Park. Staying the course will bring us back to the launch at Challenger Park, concluding an approximately 8-mile paddle, which was plenty considering today's heat index. My final thoughts on this route are as follows. Clear Creek rarely, if ever, disappoints. With only a few exceptions, each stretch of this waterway provides pleasing, immersive scenery. There is plenty throughout the journey to keep nature lovers, wildlife enthusiasts, and, to some degree, amateur architects engaged. The stretch explored today should prove manageable for any conscientious paddler. Winds can sometimes be a bit stout, but the route's frequent changes in direction and occasional sheltered sections provide some relief. The greatest potential hazard comes from powered watercraft, which are very common here because Clear Creek flows into Clear Lake and eventually Galveston Bay. I would imagine that weekends can become fairly congested with powered craft. I have also experienced several ski boats and jet skis tearing through no-wake zones without a care. The width of the sections explored today provides a decent buffer from such buffoonery, but it is always necessary to remain diligent all the same. Wildlife is most often moderately abundant along this route, though scorching days like today can limit encounters somewhat. As mentioned, there were plenty of herons and egrets, along with a lone ibis and a hog spotted along the bank. Alligator sightings, at least for me, have been exceedingly rare along this stretch, with only a handful briefly surfacing over the years. Clear Creek is a hallmark among Bay Area paddlers for good reason. It offers plenty of versatility, as routes can be tailored to accommodate paddlers of all skill levels. There are also multiple places to stop and stretch your legs along the way, with several parks and decent launches throughout its length. My longest trek along this waterway was nearly 20 miles. It took me from Armand Bayou, across Clear Lake, and all the way up Clear Creek past the parks along 2351. One of these days, I look forward to creating an overview video covering the entirety of Clear Creek. Until then, give it a try for yourself. Paddle safe, and God bless.